Welcome back to another episode of the NCAA Track and Field Show. I am your host, Gordon Mack, and today we're going to dive a little bit into the team rankings, specifically the women's team, because as you can see from the title, the Florida women are out of control. We are on the verge of witnessing something historic, and it's about time we try to get ahead of it. And I want to break it down for you. Before we do that, again, check out our website. We have all the great things you need. We do our 3 days a week podcast, FloTrack podcast. We have This Week in Track with Kevin. We have the FloTrack Rankings Show, race breakdowns with Carl Lewis. You get the idea. But today, it's all about the NCAA Track and Field. So let's check out the rankings. Head over to the rankings, NCAA rankings, last updated February 1st. We got our team rankings. Again, not much change on the men's side. Texas and Georgia still holding on to those top two spots, with North Carolina A&T, the newcomer, into the top four. Last week they were 13th. Now they're ranked 4th on the backs of one of their top short sprinters in the hurdles. So that's why they went from outside the top four to now potentially scoring 29 points. But this is not a men's podcast today. Today it's all about the ladies, especially the Florida Gators. Check this out. Right now, we have projected that the Florida women are going to score 96 points. Arkansas 244, Texas 42, LSU 38. Now, a big reason for this big jump was there was the news that Tyra Giddens of Texas A&M, Bowerman finalist, she's not competing for Texas A&M this year. She was projected to win the pentathlon, but to potentially win the high jump, to win another field event. Basically a lot of points. So all those points were going to go to Texas A&M, but now they disappear. And all the athletes that were finishing second behind Giddens move up 2 points. And Florida, let me tell you, they take a big advantage with that. So right now, 96 points. And what exactly is 96 points? Like, how much is 96? Well, did a little bit of research, and here are the top marks, or the top team points ever scored at an NCAA Indoor Championship, both men and or women. Check this out. So, Arkansas men in 1994 scored 94 points. That is the most ever in the history of the indoor meet. The second most men or women is the Oregon women in 2017 when they scored 84 points. Then Oregon men last year had a top 3 mark all time with 79 points. UTEP threw down 76 points twice in the 80s. Oregon men, 74 again. As you can notice, there's a lot of Arkansas and Oregon on this list. Texas women and basically the Oregon women are the only two women's teams that scored over 70 points. Texas women scored 71 in 88, and the Oregon women scored 84 in 2017. And this year, I think we have a chance for the Florida women to surpass that 94 mark, get to 96, and maybe, just maybe, score 100 points. I mean, if you're at 96 now and you keep on improving, you might be able to get to 100 points. So what I want to do is kind of break down how the hell are the Florida women going to score 96 points or more in the 2022 NCAA Championships. So we decided to break it down in different groups, and I can kind of show you why the Florida women are basically going to be unstoppable in 2022. So the first reason they're going to be unstoppable is basically the Georgia transfers. Jasmine Moore and Anna Hall. They both transferred from Georgia to Florida. As you know, the Georgia coach left. USC coach came in to coach Georgia. So some of the athletes who were recruited by Petros decided to take their talents somewhere different. They decided to go down to Florida. And boy, Mike Holloway is going to be happy because Jasmine Moore, she just broke the collegiate record in the triple jump. She's a top long jumper. She has a chance to score 20 points, just herself. And then Anna Hall, she's likely going to win the pentathlon. She can finish top 4 in the high jump. She can score 15 points. I think there's a chance you could have 34 points from these two women alone. Not 34, 35 points from these two Georgia transfers alone. From just two women, 35 points. For perspective, typically, once you get to 35, you're pretty much a podium team. So if Jasmine Moore and Anna Hall wanted to maybe not go to Florida and just go to their own school, like University of Phoenix, and just be the Moore Hall team, those two women could just be on the podium by themselves. That's how great these two women are. They're going to score potentially 35 points, and the Florida Gators are going to benefit greatly from their presence on their track team. So, but that's not all they have, obviously, because we can get them to 96 points. After these two women, they also have a certain potential Grant Holloway 2.0. And I say that because Grace Stark, she just ran 7:12 in the 60, 7:86 in the 60 hurdles. I see her finishing top 3 in both the 60 hurdles and the 60. She could win both, which will be crazy. That'll be 20 points for her. But I think, her floor is about 14 points from one woman. So we got 35 points from the 2 Georgia transfers, another 14 points from the female version of Grant Holloway. Now, it's a lot to put on Grace Stark because Grant Holloway isn't just a great 60 hurdle doubler. He's going on to become one of the greatest hurdlers of all time. I don't think Grace Stark is ready to become one of the greatest hurdlers of all time. But, they both went to Florida. Grace Stark's about to rack up some points in both the 60 and the 60 hurdles, so I've used that analogy. Anyway, so we're at 35 plus 14. That is 49 points already. Again, that likely would win the meet. But this isn't all they have. They have a lot more. And they are very diverse with their events. It's not just the field and the sprints, which typically is the backbone of a championship track team. No. Coach Chris Zielinski over on the distance squad has got himself some players in the distance. We're talking Gabrielle Wilkinson, who's a great 800-meter runner. Imogen Barrett, who I don't have her scoring, but she could maybe make the meet in the 800. Parker Valby, remember what she did in cross country. Freshman, she ran 8:53 in a 3K. She could probably finish 4th in the 3K. And then you have their relay, their DMR. They just ran 11 flat. I think that's good for like 6th. Now, obviously, I think they have the 3rd or 4th fastest time right now. But, when other teams put their A teams together, I think, if anything, they're going to get at least 3 points. So we're talking 8 from Wilkinson, 0 from Barrett, 5 from Valby, 3 from their DMR. That's 16 points. Add it up, another 16. So now we're at 65 points. That's right. We're at 65 points, and there's more coming. There's more coming. That's not all they're doing. We're at 65, and then there's some other sprinters on this squad, right? Because just because Grace Stark is there doesn't mean there's not other sprinters to run with her. We're talking about Samira Kilbrew, who I think can finish 6th in the 60. Talitha Diggs, who I think can finish 2nd in the 400. Taylor Manson, I think can finish All-American in the 400. And then their 4x4, I think will finish All-American. Add those all up, we're talking about another 19 points. So we're at 79 points. And we're not done yet. We're not done yet because there are a few other athletes who are also can probably score maybe exactly 4 points each. We had the fifth place crew. We're talking about Claire Bryant, who can probably finish 5th in the long jump, Natricia Hooper, who can finish 5th in the triple jump, and Sterling Lester, who can finish 5th in the pentathlon. Sterling Lester, transfer from Georgia. That's another 12 points. Add them all up, we got 96 points. Now, typically, each of these little pods is like a team nationally. I mean, you could see a team like BYU could be this team. BYU, I could see, getting 2nd in an 800, doing well in the 3K, then doing well in the DMR. This is like a B- BYU team, but then they also have the Georgia transfers. They also have Grace Stark. They also have the other sprinters. This team right here, the non-Stark sprinters. That's good enough for probably a lot of teams. If all they had was this group of Kilbrew, Diggs, Manson, and a relay, they would kill for that because that's like a top 20 team, maybe even a top 15 team. But no, they have so much more. Add it all up, we're talking 96 points, maybe even 100. And so I'll leave it with this. There's only one man who can get this women's team ready to go in March. And that is none other than Mr. Tebow himself.
A lot of good will come out of this. You have never seen any player in the entire country play as hard as I will play the rest of the season, and you never see someone push the rest of the team as hard as I will push everybody the rest of the season, and you never see a team play harder than we will the rest of this season. God bless.
Like and subscribe. We'll see you next week, breaking down some individual rankings. All the rankings are on the site. God bless.